finally, we have our off-season special that we've been teasing for the whole playoffs. It's the segment brought to us by none other than PJ. PJ, talk to the people. Tell them what you got planned for today.
And we're just gonna be fixing teams. We're gonna help teams figure out what. I mean, we're not really helping them, but this our mindset on how we believes how we believe the team could be better.
We're going to do 10 teams per episode, which means that we're going to have 3 episodes of this. We're saving some of the playoff teams' off seasons for later on in the playoffs because as of right now, there's still 4 left. But for right now, we're going to start from the bottom. The first team we're going to talk about, the Detroit Pistons. BJ, there's a lot to fix with this team. What do you think they should do in the offseason?
Well, they have a good team. I think they have a good team. I believed in them in the beginning of the season. Then they lost 20 times in a row, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna look at this team for a bit. I think they just need maybe more vets, uh more scorers. I mean, Jaden Ivey's a scorer. We got a great playmaker in Cade Cunningham, an elite defender, elite or his level. Asar Thompson, which is going to be a sophomore next year.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Duren, he's a solid big man for that team. I mean, they might not make the playoffs again next year, but they're still rebuilding. They're still trying to get better.
They definitely
But
will.
who knows? It's East. Anyone could come on top on the East, so who knows?
I
I
don't think
mean,
they'll make
right
the
now, I
playoffs.
believe that they need a power forward for that team. I think that's their missing piece right now. Isaiah Stewart, he's a dog, but he's just crazy. He just brings crazy energy to the floor. What do you think, Jacob? What you got?
They won't make the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now. Uh, I'll tell you that right now. Uh, I think what a lot of Pistons fans will tell you is that it starts from ownership, um, and from the GM. They've they have a history of drafting people that can't shoot, which has ruined their floor spacing, which I think is something they also
Yeah.
need to address. Uh, I don't know. I assume they have a bunch of cap space because no one on the team right now deserves a lot of money. So I'm assuming they have money to spend. Do you have anyone in mind? You said they needed a 4. Do you have anyone in mind on who they might
They
sign?
need
That
a forward, and I'm looking at my options right now.
okay?
I mean, if we want to push for the draft, they have a they have the fifth pick in the draft. I
They
think
fell.
a player that they should get if he doesn't get picked. I was saying it on our last episode that Matas Bazuli, player from G League Ignite,
Bazuli.
that Louis doesn't like. Well, he doesn't like. He just doesn't like Ignite because players from Ignite aren't the greatest. Like Scoot, Jalen needed time to develop, and I didn't know he came from G League Ignite. I think Matas Bazuli is one of those guys. If not, if he gets picked later or earlier in the draft, I think Cody Williams, Jalen Williams' brother, the Thunder, who's currently playing in the no, he's not. He just lost. Forgot the Thunder lost, but
Well, he is currently playing,
that's
but
the guy that you would. That's the
so
guy you would want to pick up.
so
It's another. They need a four. They need like someone who could shoot the ball because they don't have any good shooters. I think their best shooter right now on the team is Jaden Ivey. I mean, defense with Asar, that's only one good defender. Maybe have another like a 3 and D shooter that's maybe tall, space the floor. He could be like a tall KCP on that team.
fair enough.
I think that's what they're missing right now. I mean, they could develop bench. There's players that they could sign like Tobias Harris, which has you can
Hey,
technically call him a vet right now.
he's a bit.
He's been to the playoffs many
He's
times.
definitely a vet. He's old,
He's
older,
old. He's
older.
overpaid from the Sixers and the Clippers. I'm pretty sure you guys can get him for like maybe 20 mil. If he wants more, you guys have. I'm pretty sure y'all have a lot of money. But Tobias Harris is the guy I would look at.
Yeah.
Apparently, Pascal's gonna be in free agency, but I'm pretty sure he wants to stay in Indy. He's doing well over there.
Yeah.
Tobias is number one to look at for sure. If not, you got Slow Mo coming up, but I don't think Slow Mo is gonna leave. Kevin Love, fucking vet who won a chip.
Maybe.
He has a player option.
I just think they have a lot of holes. They just need to sign whoever is willing to go there. Honestly, uh,
Yeah, I'm
this
pretty
is
sure
not.
someone who wants money.
This isn't getting fixed in a year. Maybe it might not even be
No,
fixed in 2 years. So we'll have to see about that.
no, but they do need vets. Their future is bright. I feel like maybe in the next couple of years they can make the play-in, 8 seed playoff, whatever. Future's bright for them. They like I said, they got a great player in Asar Thompson, which is a huge defender.
Yeah.
He's a shy stopper. So
Let's go back to some of the draft prospects you mentioned. Matas Buzelis. I have him listed as a versatile forward. He has the length to somewhat play the four, but he's not really that big of a guy. But he's versatile enough where you can put him at the three or the four if you really had to. Um,
yep,
his shot is okay, and I'm not gonna go. I don't want to go too deep into this because we're gonna have draft prospect videos. So subscribe for that, and also subscribe for the rest of these offseason videos. Um, but I think that prototype of Buzelis or another guy, Zachary Risache, if he's available, to me he's a 3-and-D wing, which
okay,
one of his
perfect.
best things is just that his shot is one of the more consistent ones out of the top people in this draft, because a lot of the shortcomings of a lot of these players is that their shot's a little iffy. We're not sure if they're good shooters, but he's one of the guys
Yeah,
where I'm pretty confident that he can hit threes in the NBA. Next team, the Washington Wizards. Washington Wizards in this upcoming draft. I believe they have, I think it's the second pick. Yes, they have the second pick. PJ, what do you do with this team led
yeah.
by Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma?
If they still have Tyus Jones, keep Tyus Jones at the guard. He's a good point guard for that team. Jordan Poole just needs to go work. He needs to work a lot
He,
because the shit he did this year was not good. There was high expectations for Jordan Poole. Now he's in the bench.
was pretty bad.
They got the second pick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna have Marvin Bagley come back to the bench and probably pick up a big guy. It's tough here because this team is not going to the playoffs.
No.
I have better expectations for the Pistons than the Wizards. Kyle Kuzma's good. He's their star player, quote unquote. Denny's pretty good too. He's a hustler. He's a great defender. He can shoot if he wants to shoot. I think they just need a new center. Marvin Bagley I don't know what type of injuries he has, but he's always on injury report. There's a lot of things you could do with the team. If they have money to get Paul George, do it.
Yeah.
Put Denny on the bench. If you have money to get the top players of the top free agent players, do it. Get a vet that can put Jordan Poole back in his place. Not like a Draymond Green type of vet, a good locker room vet like Kevin Love. Or if you want a dog, Jay Crowder's here too. Jeff
Crowder.
Green has a team option.
Jay Crowder.
I think that's what they need. They need vets to make players understand, like, oh, if you really want to win this bad on this team, this awful team that you're in, you gotta put the dog in you. You gotta be ready for games. You don't have to be ready for fits. Kyle Kuzma's the only guy where I'm gonna be okay with, just because he does have a ring, and he's really efficient for this team. But like to talk to their younger guys like Bilal Kubali,
yeah,
Marvis Bagley, Jared Butler, Any Avija, I don't know how to
Yeah.
say his name. If I'm butchering it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna say your name. We just need more vets to let these guys know you guys could do much better for the team. Team could go places if you try hard enough. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I
That's what I
mean,
think. They're just missing a new shooting guard. Jordan Poole can develop to a better shooting guard, but he's shooting super inefficient.
I definitely think it's a mental thing. I definitely think that whatever he
It is
had,
a mental thing.
whatever he had going on, maybe a year, a year in the off season will help him. Maybe he does just need some sort of veteran presence to knock some sense into him. In the draft, they have pick 2 and pick 26, so
Pick two.
they have potential to get some more young players that can develop until I don't know, either they're ready to make a move for a bigger name player, or until one of these guys that they draft turns into something great. But these bottom teams, they're just not. It's hard to be hopeful, in my opinion. But you gotta start somewhere.
Who would you pick up
Uh,
if you're the second pick for the Wizards? Are you going Steven Cassell, Rob Dillingham?
a lot of people. Well, I think Alexander Sarr would be cool if like you said they need a big man, then that would be cool. But a lot of people have Sarr going number 1 to the Hawks, which
Yeah.
which
That's
we'll
why I
talk
want to
about later.
avoid Sar. I mean, Sar could
Yeah.
fit in a lot of these teams, these first pick teams. But
There's another
if I had
big
to go down a little bit,
Donovan Clingan, but
seen that one.
he isn't. I feel like if you have the second pick and you don't have that much young talent, I feel like you need to take a shot on somebody that can be great. So, uh, the second guy a lot of people have, Nikola Topic. He's like a
Seen
playmaking
that one.
guard, 6'7". Um, I think he's one of the guys that can have a higher ceiling than some of these other guys at the top. The biggest question, like I said, with a lot of these guys, he's not a great shooter, but he's 6'7" and he knows how to play make and he's good at driving. So I think that
I think defense is like because apparently defense is not one of his biggest strengths. That's why I'm like looking at these players and I'm like,
he's an offensive player.
he's definitely up there for two. He could be a second, but I like the one that you said. Uh, what's his name? Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, a lot of people have him going to
I see
the
him fitting in
Rockets.
this team.
I just feel like Klingon isn't gonna save your franchise personally.
No, he's
So,
not.
but if they just want a cornerstone, and then maybe next year they'll hit the number 1 option one way or another, then sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're at pick 2, regardless of how good or bad the draft is, I feel like it's worth it to take a shot on somebody that could be your number 1. The next team, third team, the Charlotte Hornets, led by LaMelo Ball
Ooh.
and I guess Miles Bridges. What do you have for this team? Where do you? Oh, Brandon Miller. Duh. What do you have for this
Brandon
team
Miller.
who has some good young talent?
Oh, definitely. They have a lot of talent on this team. We got Miles Bridges. If he stays with the Hornets, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to extend his contract. He played great this year. Brandon Miller played really good this year. Surprisingly good to me. Like I think it was a perfect fit around LaMelo Ball, but I don't think they have played together yet because LaMelo has been injured. I've been telling on the podcast LaMelo Ball needs those Steph Curry braces.
Yeah.
He just needs to work out more. Like he's worked out young, but he needs to improve his body and not have it built like Giannis. But he needs to. His longevity would be nicer if he really improved his body.
Yeah.
On this team, they need a shooting guard.
Okay.
I like Mark Williams as their center and Nick Richards as the backup center. Because Nick Richards, when I was watching them play, he was the starting, and then Mark Williams really improved. Even though he's small, he plays really good defense on his team, interior wise. Yeah, they need a shooting guard. Cody Martin apparently was their starting shooting guard. I know Trey Mann, he started when LaMelo was out. What pick do they have
They have
for
the
this
sixth.
draft?
They have the 6th pick in this draft. They're at 6.
What I said about the last team, there's a lot of guards on this draft.
There's a few of them.
If they have the 6th pick, I don't think Stephen Gasol is going to be picked up. They need another bucket on this team. I mean, you could keep on going for defense. Brandon Miller is a really good 3-and-D guard or 3-and-D wing that could
Hmm.
actually do well inside as well too. I just think they needed another bucket getter just in case if LaMelo gets injured, might as well get a bucket getter who could play make as well.
Hmm.
Just in case we're missing LaMelo Ball for another season.
To speak on some of these guards that are in this draft, Stefan Castle, he has come out and said he wants to play point guard, but he's come out and said he's like, I want to play point guard. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, he's not interviewing anywhere that already has a starting point guard. So I would assume that means that he's not on the table for the Hornets anyways, even if he was available.
No.
But, there's some other, versatile move him around pieces. Reed Shepard's a combo guard that some people really like. Cody Williams is a 2. He could play a 2. He's not
Yeah.
really a ball handler. He's really good off ball. So,
Yeah.
well, not really good off ball, but he doesn't need the ball in his hand to be great. So, he's an option.
I just saw a free agent. Let me cover up from the Wizards from what we just talked about. Tyus Jones is on free agency, so when you said Nikola Topic, I think pretty sure he's gonna get picked up by the Wizards.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So for the Hornets though, if they could get a guy like Buddy Hield, I could see him. I could see him on the Hornets. Kelly Oubre used to be on the Hornets, but he was nice on the Hornets. I don't know if he's. I don't think he would come back. I like the people that you said for the draft. I think they will pick up someone who would will to play shooting guard or small forward. If you want a crafty guy who gives you energy on the court, Josh Richardson has a player option, and it's his choice if he wants to leave. I feel like you can give him a bag. Gary Harris, another fucking dog.
Gary Harris.
He's a dog.
Yeah. See, for a lot of these young teams, it's kind of just hoping for, for somebody to just make the game playable for your younger stars or younger players you're trying to develop. Put them in a situation where, just help them succeed and understand what it takes to succeed, I think is the big thing. Because,
So I mean bets too.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm
just-
saying. Like when we were talking about with Cade Cunningham, where it's like, we want Cade Cunningham to learn what it's like to win or what you need to win. So in order to do that, you just need to surround him with these good veterans, these players that fit him and the team. So I think that's going to be a recurring thing for all these bad teams because they're not close to contending really.
Well, who knows?
No.
Who knows what these
These teams are not like the East is bad for a reason. They're in the East. They are the East. They're the bottom of the bad. Like there's not a lot of there's not a lot to be optimistic about. So just let them
your guy from the Bucks is actually on free agency too.
A Pat?
He's one of them. Malik Beasley.
Oh.
I could definitely see Malik Beasley as a Hornet.
Sure.
I think he fits the vibe.
Okay.
But if he wants to win, I don't think he's gonna be on the Hornets.
Duh. Well, yeah. So the next team, the fourth team, the Portland Trailblazers, they have the 7th pick and the 14th pick in this upcoming draft.
Ooh.
Where do you think this team goes in free agency and the draft?
I like DeAndre Ayton on the Trailblazers. He played much better than he was on the Suns. I guess he was mentally better, but like the game where he missed it because of the snowstorm, it's a toss-up. I don't know if Jeremy Grant wants to stay. Shaden Sharp is good on this team. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Grant's going to get traded. I 100% believe that he's going to get traded. He's such a good young player that deserves to play on a playoff team in the future. So that's where I would look at. But I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon wants to stay. Because during during trades, he wanted to stay on Portland.
Mhm.
They have a solid young team, to be honest. Scoot is still developing, so you might want a new point guard and have Scoot come off the bench for the seventh pick. Who do you have for them, Jacob?
Uh, the seventh pick. I mean, they'd probably just end up drafting one of these, one of the many versatile two-way forwards. There's a lot of them. Ron Holland, he's a guy that can end up going in the top three, but he's a two-way forward
Yeah.
that's insanely athletic. We've already mentioned Cody Williams. We've already mentioned Reed Shepard, but these are all the guys in this area that I could see the Blazers targeting. Once you get to the 14th pick, that's when it gets kind of crazy, because there's one guy that people are hyping up, but Tijane
Okay.
Salone, he's like,
Sam.
people are calling him French Giannis, but the thing is,
French Giannis. Ooh.
so he's an extremely raw, inexperienced player. He has all the tools, athleticism, size, all of that. He just doesn't really know how to play basketball because he hasn't been playing that long, which is
I see
Giannis,
why.
which is what Giannis was. But I don't see the same things in terms of the physical traits that I saw with Giannis. I don't think he's as long as Giannis is, and even then, he grew more from that from when he was drafted. But
Yeah.
at 14, when you talk about taking a shot at just some guy that could be great, that's a guy a lot of people are looking at. And I think that for this team that's just young and you just want to develop people, it's like you have two picks in the first draft. If you want to take a shot, I don't see why not. So I think that's a guy a lot of people have mocked to the Blazers at 14.
If they do end up getting a point guard or just a guard in general, I assume they should. Uh, they would need to look at power forwards too, because I don't believe Jeremy Grant will stay with the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
But if they have the money, I would just shoot for the top player available. If you want to be a contender, because at this point, you have a lot of great young guys on this team. I'm looking at all these names and I'm like realizing who they have.
I feel like you maybe give it a year before you shoot for the moon with this team.
If
Maybe
they were in the East, I think they could be an Orlando Magic type of thing.
I feel like,
If they were the East,
okay, well, if they're in the East, but they're in the West, and I think that because they're in the West, I feel like
it's tough.
you give it another year, see what you have in Scoot, see if he is improving or not, before you
Hmm.
full send it and say, let's try to get Paul George or let's try to get whoever. Because I would be more comfortable shooting for the moon for like the wing players or whatever if I knew that my point
Yeah,
guard, Scoot Henderson, was playing like the second overall pick. It's the lowest team in the West, so in terms of the draft odds. But
Scoot has time, but I just think that if they get another guard who's more efficient and inefficient, because Scoot can definitely play, and like I think he's good off the bench. Off the bench scoring, he's done better than on the bench. Or with his goggles, he's done so much better. I think they just need a new point guard who can space the floor really well. Because Anthony can shoot lights out if he wants to. Shaden Sharp, you're gonna see him cutting, shooting threes. He is a guard, but he's playing small forward for this team. And DeAndre Ayton is doing better than he was on the Sun. So yeah, honestly, just for me, it's like just need a new point guard on this team.
I'm also skeptical still about Aiden. I still don't think he's very.
I am too, but
I still don't.
he's done better. I've seen improvements.
I don't have hope for him in a playoff run still. So
I have more hope than him than having Ben Simmons on a team.
okay, the bar is on the floor with that one. I would sure hope you would. If they're not better than Ben Simmons, I don't. Why are they? What are they doing on the team? But the next team, and arguably the first team that has 100%. Well, okay, I'm not gonna say the only team, but his team probably has, it definitely has the best player out of all of the ones we've talked about so far. San Antonio Spurs,
So
Victor Wembanyama. They have the 4th and the 8th pick in this draft. Tell me, PJ, what do they need?
the 4th and the 8th.
When do they pull the trigger on on going all in?
They are in the West. They, I'm pretty sure Victor wants to win one with Pop before he actually retires. I like Jeremy Sohan, but don't put him at point guard again.
Right.
I think Louis said it last episode that they put Jeremy Sohan at point guard because they're tanking. I see it. I see, but I understand that Jeremy Sohan gets like a lot of assists a game. He's not a point guard. He wants to be a Rodman so bad, leave him at power forward. I like Trey Jones at point guard. I'm assuming that he's still a Spur.
Okay.
Evan Vassell has a huge contract. It's hard because they have Keldon Johnson too, but I think they're gonna have to trade him.
For what?
I think when you're in this draft, you're looking for a guy who can play underneath Victor. Like Zach Collins was good before Victor before Victor came into the league, but now he's not playing as good as he used to when Victor's in the league. I think you're looking for a new center, and I think you're looking for a new small forward. Because I'm pretty sure someone's going to get traded and let go. If not, you're looking for a backup point guard to play behind Trey Jones.
So wait, when you say a new center, do you mean behind Victor?
A backup center.
Okay, yeah.
Behind Victor.
Okay.
He's a franchise center right now.
That's why I was confused. I was like, what? I was like, why did you say they need a new center?
I meant to say behind. That's my
Okay.
fault.
Okay, I get you. So the problem is, they're not getting a backup center at 4 or 8. I'll tell you that right now. That's not happening.
Okay.
Because in this draft, there's two really good. Well, by this draft standards, there's two really good big men, which is Sar and Klingon, and then there isn't another good center until like you're out of the lottery. So, and I really doubt they're gonna spend another pick on a center with the 4th pick if one of them falls to them anyways.
No.
So, I feel like you could probably draft a Trey Jones replacement with the 4th or 8th pick. I don't know, like I'm sure Trey Jones is, I know Trey Jones is, he's decent, but I feel like you could definitely upgrade from Trey Jones. And if the other guys are under contract and I don't know, if they're not able to get traded or whatever, you got to do something with these picks. I feel like they would I feel like it's probably going to end up being one guard and one of these versatile forwards, one of these wings. I just don't know how long it is until this team becomes great because of Victor.
I'll give them 2-3 years. Victor really wants to win with the Spurs. There's a video out on YouTube talking about how he wants to win with the Spurs in the future. You need to put a facilitator who could shoot the ball next to him. Like Trey Jones, he's coming up. He's not that guy yet to be right next to Victor. But if you are looking to win in the next couple of years, you got to sign a guy for maybe 3-4 years that can facilitate and shoot for sure.
Or just to let everyone know, we are going to be doing mock drafts eventually. That is going to be a part of this off-season process. So if we're not putting as many names to draft picks as you would like, don't worry. That's coming later. I don't know what they're going to do with the players they have right now. Because a lot of those guys are under contract for a bit. But we'll see if one of them becomes a trade candidate. I don't know what they would get traded for, but it's possible. The next team, Toronto Raptors, led by none other than Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. After trading away Pascal Siakam, this team has only the 19th pick in this draft because their other pick, I believe it went to San Antonio as the 8th pick. So, no lottery pick for this Toronto team. What do they do?
Look for a new shooting guard.
Okay.
If they're looking for a great pick in this draft, you just got to look at guards. If you want to look at centers, or power forwards to play behind Scotty Barnes or Jacob Patel. I don't know how to say his last name. I think it's Patel.
I think it's Pirtle.
Uh, Pirtle.
Jakob Pirtle?
So
Quickly is
I'm
also there.
assuming you're shopping for new guards because Gary Trent, Manuel Quickly, they're gonna become free agents after this season. I don't think Bruce Brown's returning. They just need to look for guards.
I mean, I'm sure they could just get some of the lower tier guards. Like, they don't have to. I don't think there's any pressure on them to win right now, anyways. So,
Are they rebuilding still right now?
I mean, what do you think? Do you think how good do you think the team is?
They could potentially get to the play-in.
Well,
They have an all-star in Scotty Barnes.
yeah.
RJ Barrett has played better for this team. I mean, Grady Dick, he's on the bench. But he might be a starting shooting guard next year for you guys. Yeah, I guess this team's still rebuilding. They're going to just figure it out and pick up a better guard this season and get a better backup center.
Next team. This team's an interesting one because they are here because of probably some of the worst injury luck in the regular season you could have. The Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, this team has Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane. They have the 9th pick in this draft. How do you feel about this team going forward?
It's hard to say. From this season alone, without Dylan Brooks being on the team, you can see a huge difference. They could definitely be a play-in playoff contending team next season. Because you still have, like you said, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane. I assume Marcus Smart is still on this team next season. I think they're going to keep some of these G League guys who did so much for their team. And they were out and injured. With this team, you're going to have... I'm pretty sure they're going to keep Derrick Rose for veteran behind Ja Morant. I think their starting lineup's okay. They just need another vet. Derrick Rose is a vet, but he has so much he could do for a team. I've been saying Kevin Love on the Pistons. I think Kevin Love could be a good fit on this team. But if I really needed to change the team for sure, like if I needed to pick up one more guy who could really fit this team, we need a starting center for the Grizzlies. I think Jaren Jackson is like AD who likes to play the 4. I don't think he's too comfortable playing the 5.
Yeah, definitely not. He's definitely better.
Do they have a draft pick? Do they have a lottery pick, or do they have?
They have the 9th pick.
They have the 9th pick.
Yeah.
If I was a Grizzly, yeah, look at centers who are going to be in this draft.
I don't think that's the best spot. I don't have a
specific center.
I don't think this is the best spot. I don't think this is the best spot for centers. I think the only centers getting drafted are going to be in like the top 3 and then out of the lottery.
Well, I'm looking at these players and I'm like, I don't want to put Marcus Smart in the bench unless they're just going to pick up a talented guard or wing that's going to play on the bench and be a backup for one of these guys on the list.
Well, lucky for you, a lot of these players are mostly built as role players, so so it's very possible that that's exactly what happens. So
okay, then. Well, yeah. Just backup players, vets, that just needs to be added to this team.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they can do when they're actually healthy. Just because it was a disaster. There's really no other way to put it.
Terrible.
Yeah. Moving on. The Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz have the 10th pick in this draft and the 29th pick. So that's way at the end. What do you do with this team led by none other than Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen and Johnny Juzang? Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Mr. Juzang.
Well, they got a good center, but yeah, I think John Collins is not like he's such a I don't think he deserves to be on a team like the Jazz.
Oh, okay. I thought
he needs. I Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about off season, but I'm trying to think of players that would be a fit on this team.
I thought you were gonna
And John
end.
Collins is not that guy to be on this team.
I thought you were gonna end that sentence at. I don't think he deserves to be on a team. I was like, what?
Well, I meant on this team. Not. I think he needs to play with a
No,
team that has
you clarified.
a playmaking guard who can really move the ball around to other players, including him.
Speaking on this team needing or wanting a playmaker type of player, I think they're in a good spot to get one. There's a few guys that they could consider, depending on how the draft falls. The 10th pick, and we talked about Stephon Castle earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be, if he wants to play point guard. I mean, there's no one over here. You can play point guard. You can play point guard in Utah. They have some good pieces, but they're not. This team still has a lot of holes.
Yeah, it's either like Cavante George is good. He was good for the Jazz, but
Yeah.
if the Jazz ever wants to come back, if you want to win, yeah, honestly, for me, it's John Collins that doesn't fit the team. He's just like, bruh, like I don't think you should put him at center. Like I don't understand why he's at center. Like I
Does he
understand
play
sometimes
center?
he'll get like double-digit rebounds,
Do they have him playing center?
but I wouldn't put him at center.
Do they have him playing center?
He's power forward center, but if like Walker Kessler's out, he plays center,
Okay. Interesting.
and then Lowry plays small forward.
And
Even though his size says power forward, it screams it.
yeah.
So yeah, just look for a backup center for Walker Kessler. Trade John Collins to a team who needs a power forward. You could trade him for the Wizards, to be honest. Probably get someone else.
I don't know what the Wizards would. I don't know why the Wizards would do that. I
The Wizards are just
don't know
they
why
just
would do
need
that.
people in general.
I don't know why they would do that. I don't know. I don't think giving anything up for that is beneficial to their team.
Nothing's beneficial, but like
Okay, but then,
they could have a bright future. They just need better mental players. Maybe the Nets. I don't know. Some fucking team that needs John Collins who could get you some rebounds and drive to the paint like he's Karl Malone or some shit.
I don't know where he's gonna go. But I do agree that the fit is weird on this team. But the his best time was when he's playing with Trae Young, and I don't know what team with that kind of player needs this kind of player.
He could play backup for Miles Bridges.
I'd have to look at more of the teams to come to a consensus on that, but I imagine the market for John Collins is not very isn't very big, which is why he's on Utah in the first place. But we'll see what happens with him. Next team.
Next team.
This one's nasty.
Let's get out of Utah.
This one's nasty. Brooklyn Nets with 0 draft picks, literally none, not even a second rounder. No draft picks to speak of. What the hell does this team do?
Oh, Claxton's a free agent
Yeah.
this year.
And
They might lose him.
the market for him is going to be a lot bigger than for John Collins. A lot bigger. A lot bigger. I assure you that.
Let me look at this stuff.
This team
All right.
This team has potential to be one of the worst ever. I'm not gonna say ever, but this team, if they lose Claxton, this team is gonna be pretty bare, and I don't know how they fix it.
Well, they just need a new starting center. I mean, for sure, Claxton's gone.
If they can keep Claxton, it's a huge W. Huge.
It's a huge W for them.
Someone's gonna.
They need a new center and a new starting point guard because moving the ball on this team is not that good when you have Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges.
Didn't they have Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah, They have no draft picks?
Not a single one. Not in the first, not in the second. There's nothing this draft.
Do they have money for people?
I hope so. I don't know, though. They better.
Well, D'Lo has a player option. If I was the Nets, I'd get D'Lo back. D'Lo on the Nets was nasty.
That was a
I'll
time.
get Tyus Jones on the Nets. You want energy? Jose Alvarado has a team option.
Okay. Well, that's a team option. I feel like they're going to keep him, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's up to them.
Yeah. I just feel like.
I was just naming players.
No, I get you.
I don't think James Harden's ever coming back to the Nets.
That wouldn't even make sense for them to sign him. It wouldn't even make sense. They're really playing for nothing. Their picks are not even theirs. The team's not even close to being good. Like, they're really in hell. like they just have to pray that somebody bails them out with, like, I don't know, a trade from Mikal Bridges. Well, they should have taken the one that the Rockets were offering them during the season.
For Jalen Green.
Yeah, and their picks back. They're offering their picks back to them. And they're like, no, we want Mikal Bridges.
They flopped on that one because we were talking about what's his name, Jalen Green with Louis, and he was like, he went off for those 12-win games.
Yeah,
which is true.
He has potential.
He did go off.
He has potential.
Maybe they could pick up more vets.
I think this is the team that just needs players.
They have nice players. It's just that if they knew how to work together, their future could have been more brighter. But the fact that Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges is ball hogging and playing on the floor kind of sucks. Ben Simmons' mental health is ridiculous.
He's not. He's a non-factor.
He's a non-factor. He would have been a factor if he had great mental.
Okay,
well, I wanted to see 2016 Ben Simmons, but we don't get any of that.
It's almost like that's been an issue since he was drafted. I don't know. I don't see many avenues to saving this team. So I'll just watch Cam Thomas ball out while they tank, even though they don't have a pick. So, good luck to them. But the next team, the last one for this video, and probably the most interesting, the Atlanta Hawks, who, by the gods' good graces, jumped from 10th to 1st in the draft. PJ, who's getting traded? Do you even think someone's getting traded? I mean, I think that's what everyone's assuming, but potentially they could keep it. They could try one more time, but I don't think so. But what do you think?
I think the market's good if they trade Trae Young. We talked about it on our last video, because Louis had brought up Trae Young becoming a new player for a new team. If the market is really that good to trade Trae Young, then he's gonna be a great point guard for another great team.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give you any teams. I mean, I was gonna say the Spurs. Like I understand the reasons behind that. They need a really good floor spacer and a good point guard. And they got players to trade for. They got maybe picks to trade for. I'd keep that number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And I assume that they do go for Sar.
Yeah.
They got a great young core with Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu. And their other young players could be potentially traded. I like the fit with DeJounte Murray. He's really good for this team. He's a hustler. I'm pretty sure they're gonna look for another hustler for this team. I think they need to trade Clint too. I think that's another guy you need to trade on this team. He hasn't been good since the Rocket years with James Harden. And the way how they use him is not that great either.
Well, if they draft.
So if I'm the starting number 1 pick, I'm pretty sure Sar's going to be on this team.
Yeah, I'll say if they draft Sar, then he's already on the bench, at least for Clint Capella. He's at least a bench player. Sar
is he a starting center for France?
Sar?
Or is he a forward?
Sar's a center.
So yeah, you're on the market for trading Trae Young or another star player or role players that could play really well with DeJounte Murray and Jalen Johnson because Jalen Johnson, he's good too. Players that they would need to look for when Trae Young leaves is for sure shooters because you're gonna let go of his shooting. You have playmaking worthy in DeJounte Murray. He plays great defense too. He's a gritty
Mm-hmm.
player. I'm assuming they're keeping Bogdanovich for that shooting. If they're actually trading Trae Young, it's point guard and center too. And then they have number one pick. It's for sure Sar, unless they trade that for a great player in the league.
I don't know what team would want to do. Like, I don't know who's worth this pick, and who I don't even know. Because it'd have to be somebody that's trying to offload a good player to like a rebuilding team. But I don't know which rebuilding team has a player that they're willing to get rid of that's worth a first overall pick. I don't know
It
who
might
would.
not be. It might not be a rebuilding team. There's rumors that the Pelicans are trying to move up and getting one of the top picks. Even I think they're at number 9, or what number are they?
They're at 17.
I think they're moving. Yeah, they're trying to
That's
move up to
17.
play right next to Zion. That's what the rumor says. Another player that they can have right next to Zion. So I'm assuming they're gonna trade Brandon Ingram for
He's
a team
he's
that has a
not.
top pick.
That's such a terrible trade for the Hawks. Like, that's a terrible trade. It's a Brandon Ingram and DeJounte. That's carrying you to the
Well,
promised land. Because who
well,
else
that
could they
will
give
take you
up?
to the playoffs. I think it can take you to the playoffs. I'm not saying to the finals.
But Trae Young was already doing that for you. So then what's the? They're moving laterally. It doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't change. This doesn't
It
change.
depends.
This doesn't change their outcome at the end of the season. They're still losing to all
Well,
the other teams, and they lost the first pick for it. That's why I
in a
don't.
sense,
That's why it doesn't make sense to me if that's the person they're
so
trading
if
with.
they trade, let's say if you put Trae Young in the first pick as a trade,
Together?
imagine if they were together. You're trying to trade for a huge player.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But who would want to give up their player for that package?
That's the only player that I have in mind. Unless I'm not gonna speak on. I'm gonna speak on their team unless, let's say the Celtics don't win this year because we're still in the playoffs, and they're gonna split up their team. There's gonna be a player available for those. I think someone should get split up and get traded for a great player.
I feel like trading Tatum, or probably not Tatum, Brown for Trae Young in the first pick. That's I still don't think that saves the Hawks.
Is that too far? Because it's like, what
Yeah.
what else are you looking for this team?
That still doesn't save the Hawks. I
I
think
mean, if you're
The Hawks should just keep the pick. The Hawks just keep the pick and then they trade Trae or DeJounte. I don't see why you would trade the first pick. I think that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It's just that I'm thinking about if the Hawks want to win now. If they're in that time where we're like, okay, we hit the play-in spot, but if we're in a place where we want to win now and we have dogs on our team who actually want to be in the playoffs. I mean, maybe not Trey in first, maybe Clint in first, but it's just like
I just feel like it would be a fumble to jump from 10-1 to then trade the 1. And
oh, you're right. I forgot to look at it like that.
I also feel like if they're gonna trade the 1 to win now, I feel like they would just keep both Trae and DeJounte. I don't know what you would get back from Trae or DeJounte that makes your team that much better to go into win now mode. They have to be better than, well, you know, trades can happen wherever. They have to be better than the Celtics, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Magic, the Cavs, maybe even, probably. They're still going to have some players there. I don't know. I don't think there's a trade that sends them that far. I feel like they definitely should just take the pick. They should just pick.
No, if it was me, I'd take the pick. I'm not going to trade.
Okay. Yeah.
Shit happens in the NBA, which makes no fucking sense.
No, for sure.
So like literally, if they do that, and I don't think they will, but I just threw out the Pelicans. They want a top pick, put right next to, fucking Zion, and I know, I have a great feeling that Brandon Ingram is not gonna be on that team next year.
I don't think so either. But we'll get to that in the next episode when we get to cover both the Cavs and the Pelicans, as those teams are linked together in a Darius Garland, Brandon Ingram trade. But we'll talk more about that in the next one, because this one's gone on for a while. So
yeah,
this is just part one of the. This is just part one. If you enjoyed, hit subscribe, because there's 2 more parts of this coming out. There's a mock draft coming out, a prospect videos coming out. Like, what are you doing? Hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, tell us what you think. Comment down below. Let us know what you think the Hawks are gonna do, because nobody knows. We're all guessing, but honestly, I haven't heard much actual reports. But anyways, I don't know when this is getting uploaded, but it's probably still NBA playoffs, so subscribe for that too. We do all kinds of stuff on this channel. Yeah, this is the Hooper Soul Podcast. This has been part 1 of the off-season special. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.